I'll never forgive them, not until I die. There's no way that I am ever letting go of this. You better believe it. Sound familiar? Maybe you've said something like that before in your life, pertaining to you, your life, a situation, a scenario, event. Maybe it was life, maybe it was business, maybe it was in your leadership, right? Maybe. I know I have, right? Held on to anger and frustration, hurts, wrongdoings, right? Something didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. And did it help? No, not at all. In fact, it held me back. And it's holding you back too. Hey, hello, hi. I'm Heather Patterson, and I know it was a heavy start, so it'll get a little lighter, I promise. So I had to get your attention, right? I'm a coach. I work with people just like you, right? Growth-oriented people who are interested in transformation and moving ahead in their life. And I help them unlock their thinking so that they can and will and have a big, bold, beautiful, abundant, and happy life, right? And so here on this channel, I talk about things like mindset, whether it pertains to life or leadership or love, right? And give you practical tools, strategies, tactics surrounding your mindset, surrounding goal achievement, surrounding happiness, so that you too can experience that. Now, if you are back again, you've been here before, thank you. I'm so glad that you are back. And if you're new here, hi, hello, I'm glad that you're here. All right, so I know I started out bold, saying things like, I'm never gonna forgive them, or God, I won't ever forget that, or, I'm gonna remember this forever, right? And it was a little dramatic, it was a little heavy, right? Even like me contemplating even saying that is so far away. It was like really kind of, I had to find this like inner angry person, to muster that up and have it roll out of my mouth. But this is the deal, right? We will, from time to time, right, fall into that space of holding grudges, of holding anger, of holding resentment, of holding hurts and wrongdoings. And if you look around, you can see pretty clearly where that comes from. There are references and cancel culture and all that everywhere you look, whether we're talking about social media, in the movies or television shows, entertainment, that sort of thing, pop culture, that sort of thing, that it's everywhere. Attempting to convince you that that's going to be a useful way to approach your life. And I'm here to tell you that it's not. Right? When it comes to growth and transformation, the whole reason that you're here, a very effective, very, very, very effective tool, yet often overlooked, not really talked about a whole lot, is the idea, the concept of forgiveness. And you may have heard about this idea, this concept before, whether you are, working in spaces like yoga and meditation, or maybe through your religious studies and practices. But whether you are studying in the East or practicing in the West, you will find this thread. It's so congruent. It's congruent across all the different studies and different aspects regarding spirituality, growth, and transformation. But we don't talk about it a whole lot. And we don't talk about how we do it. And so I'm here today to tell you about a practice related to and regarding forgiveness that is near and dear to me, to my heart. One that, and thinking and planning and preparing for this conversation, I actually don't even remember who the first person was that told me about this practice, but I remember it being powerful and I remember it being very common. So what is that practice that I'm talking about? I am talking about the Native Hawaiian practice of ho'oponopono. That's ho'oponopono. I'll leave it below so that you can see it spelled out. I find that especially when it comes to Hawaiian words, seeing those words with all of those consonants and vowels stacked next to each other allows me to say that easily or more easily. So that practice, ho'oponopono. What is the origin? Where does it come from? What's the point and purpose? Well, like I said, it's a Native Hawaiian practice passed down through the generations. Someone was kind enough to pass it down to me. And like I mentioned, I'm sorry to say, I don't even remember who I have to thank for initially introducing this to me, this idea. I have some thoughts, if I could guess, some really beautiful mentors of mine. Yeah, and you know who you are, so if you're watching. So Native Hawaiian practice with the idea of that misunderstandings, that conflict and other, kind of wrongdoings, hurts and things like that are all, if you go back and try and find that origin of where those things are rooted in, that they're rooted in an imbalance inside of us and perhaps inside of the other person, that there is some sort of disharmony that is causing us to behave in a certain way and it didn't quite work out. And so the practice of ho'oponopono in its translation is to make right, to make good, to correct, to restore the harmony, the balance. And when you think about it, when you think about where it comes from and the nature of these island people, it makes sense. We've got to have harmony and balance if we're going to live on an island together. The truth is that we're all interconnected. We are all connected. We are all one, right? So whether or not we're on an island or we are spread across the whole world, know that we're connected. And when we intentionally and deliberately go and restore the balance, restore the harmony, it's good for me and it's good for you. And it's good for everybody around us. Now there's an essential component to this practice, ho'oponopono, and that is to take responsibility for your part in the matter. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this idea, I recently made a video. I'll link it above so that you can go and check that out. Right? But it is rooted 1000% in the idea that you or I or they, right, played a part in the matter. If you are unable to resonate, I suppose, with that, if you are just that far blocked around, this situation, then ho'oponopono may not be for you. It might be rather a practice in self-reflection, in responsibility, in which case the other video would apply. Okay, so let's get down to it. How do you actually practice ho'oponopono? There are 4 main phrases that you'll use, and I'll tell them to you here now, and I'll give a little explanation for each. And then after the explanation, after the educational aspect of it, I will give you a way of using ho'opono in your day-to-day. Okay? All right, so the phrases. First phrase is, I'm sorry. Next is, please forgive me. Then it's followed by, thank you. And then we have, I love you. So let's break it down. First and foremost, I'm sorry. So I'm sorry is to say, I am sorry for my part. I am sorry for my contribution, my imbalance, my, whatever might be happening inside of me, my thoughts, my beliefs, the vibe that I brought, my action, my behavior, however it is, however big, however small, right? That you play a part in it. So I'm sorry, it's the responsibility component. Please forgive me is to say that, hey, regardless of what you are doing and what you are up to, I am asking for you to forgive me for my part. That takes some humility, right? So to say, hey, I'm sorry for my part, and would you please forgive me? Now, next we have thank you. And thank you can mean a lot of things. First and foremost, it's around thank you. Thank you for giving me that forgiveness. Thank you for being here in this space with me, right? And being interested in, restoring the balance and the harmony. Also, thank you for the situation and finding the silver linings, what it actually brought to your growth and your transformation, your self-awareness. Thank you for those lessons. And then lastly, I love you. And I love you is to say, regardless of all of this, regardless of the hurts, regardless of the wrongdoings, regardless of the misunderstandings, I'm still able to see good and light in you, and I am going to extend love and compassion to you. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. All right, so like I mentioned, I am going to share with you just one way in which I recommend that you could use Ho'oponopono in your day-to-day. Now, there are many, many other ways, and this one in particular is, it's just the one that I believe is the safest for me to teach you and will support you in getting results. As in terms of restoring balance and harmony. It's not immediate, but it certainly is going to be useful. I've used this practice for many, many years. And like I mentioned, I walk my clients through this practice as well. What you're going to do is you're going to call to mind. And when I say call to mind, we think in pictures. So in your mind's eye, when you close your eyes, bring someone to mind that you are maybe carrying some anger, resentment, hurt, a grudge, if you will. You're holding on. So they're bothering you, or you are bothered by them, right? And keep in mind, that person very well may be yourself. I was working with someone recently and we moved through this practice. I had them, it was a group of people, and I had them choose three individuals. And this, one of the people in the group chose to focus on her past self, her present self, and even her future self. It was so powerful. Oh, so powerful, right? So call to mind 3 people, and you're going to work with each one of those people one by one. And you're going to invite them into your mind. They're going to come up. So you're going to want to close your eyes and call them to mind. They are going to appear in your mind. And, just look at them. Kind of check them out. Feel the energy between the two of you. Perhaps reach out and hold their hand. Whatever you are feeling led to do. It might be that you're standing back. That's okay. Just allow it. Whatever will be, and it's perfect. Okay? But allow them to come in. And then this is where the phrases come, right? This is where you begin to apply those phrases. So you're looking them in the eye and you're saying, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Maybe one more time. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Maybe another time, and maybe another time after that. And at some point, it may be time to bid that person adieu in your mind. Allow them to move about in your mind, inviting the next person in, and inviting the next person, doing the same practice. You could do 3 to 5 cycles of Ho'oponopono with each person, or maybe it's just one person. And you take your time and you allow what will be to unfold in your mind. The point is the intention. The point is the vibe that you are radiating out, that you are sending to them. Because while they may not be physically in front of you, we are connected energetically, and you are able to send that out. So maybe it's 1 time, maybe it's 3 times, maybe it's 5 times, maybe it's 20 times. You get to choose. I invite you to consider to not force, to, just allow and follow what feels good. Really tune in to you. And when it's time for that person to depart, they will, in your mind, right? It might mean that you visit again later that day, later that week, later that month. You can do this as a practice on the daily, right? I know some people that do use this practice on the daily. There are people who will use this practice before they go into a situation or scenario with someone that's bothering them, right? And people that will use it, when necessary. Again, it's a tool, and use it how you feel called to, right? I don't want you to get caught up in the right or wrong way. It's about the intention, the vibe, the energy that you're putting behind it. Don't worry about doing it right. You're doing just fine. All right, so as I wrap up, I'm going to say that in one stretch for you, the phrase, with the invitation to call someone to mind. So that if this is resonating for you, you have an anchor point, you have something to refer to. Save this video, download it, write it down, do whatever you need to do. Okay? All right. So go ahead and call to mind someone that you would like to restore balance and harmony with. And see that person. See that person in your mind. What do you notice about them? What color are their eyes? How do you see their posture? Really connect with them. And looking them in the eye, opening your heart, repeat after me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Again, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And one more time. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Taking a moment to, again, connect with that individual in your mind. Noticing the energy exchange between the two of you. If it is time to part ways, you can do so now in your mind. And if not, carry on your practice. Taking a deep breath in, holding at the top, and exhaling all that love and compassion, that pure intention to restore the balance and harmony. Thank you so much for watching. If I can support you in any way, send a DM, shoot a message. How to get in touch with me is easily found, okay? And I'll see you next time.